This is a history of Kelly Air Force Base. However, while the United States was returning to a peacetime setting, Russia was not. In April 1948, Russia closed all rail, water, and highway links to West Berlin, effectively sealing off the city. The Western Allies fully appreciated the political significance of this act, rose to the challenge by ordering a round-the-clock airlift of vital supplies and materials to the encircled city. Kelly performed an important role during Operation Vittles by supplying over 15,000 different items of Air Force equipment, ranging from radio sets to R-2000 engines, the power plant of the C-54 Skymaster, the workhorse of the Berlin airlift. Maintenance activity returned to the high tempo of World War II days. The Cold War and atomic bomb prevented America from ever returning to the days of isolationism. The outbreak of the Korean War in June of 1950 found Kelly in the midst of implementing a new Air Force logistics system. Kelly responded to the Korean War as it had responded to all of America's call to arms. Almost overnight, Kelly geared up, placed once again on wartime footing. Thousands of additional civilian personnel returned to Kelly. Its supply and maintenance personnel began working round-the-clock shifts once again in an effort to prepare mothballed aircrafts for shipment to the Far East. Crews installed a special outdoor lighting system on the ramp so work could continue during the night. The B-29 production line earned the nickname the Great White Way as the reflected glow of the lights shining off the aluminum skin of the bomber lit up the evening sky. In 1955, Kelly Air Force Base runways underwent its last reconstruction. To this day, we are still using the design that was implemented this year. During the years following the Korean War, aircraft, engines, support equipment, and accessories became increasingly sophisticated and complex. So did Kelly's organization as the directorates became more and more specialized. Kelly workers continued to maintain a large number of Air Force weapon systems, including the B-36, B-47, B-58, F-102, F-106, and the unique XC-99, the experimental predecessor to today's C-5. Maintenance on engines has always been a heavy workload on Kelly, and by 1953, the jet age became a reality as the San Antonio Air Material Area was assigned repair responsibility for the engines that powered jet aircraft. This workload meant continued employment for thousands of San Antonians and traffic jams as they tried to get to and from base. Improving access to the base became an important issue, especially as San Antonio began to expand in the national migration to the Sun Belt. In the late 1950s, base leaders joined with civic leaders to urge construction of new access roads, ultimately leading to the construction of General Hudnell Drive, Kelly Access Road, linking the base to State Highway 90. This access road was approved in January of 1960. Kelly's workload remained relatively constant until the 1960s when America's role in Southeast Asia increased. The base's association with the war in Vietnam began early and lasted until American involvement ended in 1975. During the buildup of American forces in 1965, Kelly sent out 11 military and civilian teams to Southeast Asia to establish supply centers throughout the Western Pacific. Other Kelly workers served on teams to modify the F-5 aircraft for the Vietnamese, establish an engine repair facility, and provide supply and transportation support. For those who remained in San Antonio, the Vietnam years were a time of intense effort as they strove to meet the demands for the material and aircraft maintenance. Numerous aircrafts were associated with Kelly during the 1960s, and 70s, including the U-2, T-38, T-37, F-5, B-52, F-106, C-124, C-141, and the C-5. Most of these aircrafts are now on static display at Lackland Air Force Base, symbolizing the hard work and skill and dedication of Kelly's people serving the nation.